I'm being tested today. I was gonna have a very quiet night, and clearly there are other plans because I just put this face mask on, and I was going to just set up the workstation, and then Spirit was like, "It's time to give the message." And then I almost thought, should I wash this off? But I'm like, what? No. So today, I'm tired. I'm tired to even do that. So we're working with still being able to take care of myself and relay these messages. So here we are. What inspired this message too was somehow I've been getting more DMs, but I've been getting more DMs, requests about where I live and wanting to meet for coffee. And each time I ask, Nfunani, what do you want? This platform for me is for consultations. Nifunani outside of that. And then the link went to this topic. Everybody just wants the booty. Now, if we could just be honest about how we want the booty. What is the booty? In essence, it's your light. People want your light to take away their darkness. That is what is attractive. Light. To help bring light away from the dark that you feel. So, give me that booty. Could be romantic relations. It could be work relations. It's your time, in essence, in exchange. Sorry, I'm going to have to not look at this too much, but okay. So we all want the booty. Remember, I just said it's equated to your light, your essence, the divinity within you. But we need to start being honest about how we want the booty and how to just be clear with each other so that we stop wasting each other's time. I know personally where my time is. I know why I've done this particular thing. Like I said, this platform is for consultations to open them up. So it's not here to come have coffee dates with let's get to know one another. Okay? Already, that energy. How do you want to get to know me? Now, this is for everybody. How do you want to get to know them? What is their purpose? And just be honest with saying, I just want to feed off you. But in what way? And then what is the benefit? What is the beneficial and mutual exchange? What am I going to gain? Because relationship is money. It's money exchange. We have allowed ourselves to be depleted because it's my friend or it's my family member or it's because I'm going to get this extra benefit or, whatever. But it's an exchange that leaves you needing to cleanse from the darkness that you have now absorbed. So in our work, when we consult, and every person who does divinations and consultations in the healing space can understand that your time is your money because it's an exchange, but is it fair? And a lot of times, because we've been giving it for free, our time for free, because we're still trying to understand how we are healing our own particular wounds, then we'll give it up because that is what we are used to. Remember, everything starts off in the home. Everything was about whoever your guardian was, your parent was. You would look up to them for love and affection, and that was your form of exchange. Whether they were satisfied for it, about what you did for it, and how they made you like jump for it. And because that exchange wasn't mutually agreeable, then we feed into those kind of relationships outside of the homes. So once again, with friends, with romance, with work. But it's coming to this time in our lives where we need to be honest with what we want and be okay with the rejection. Because if you get a no, it's simply a redirection towards where someone is willing to give you what you want and what you need with so much ease. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to manipulate for it. You can just be yourself and you will receive it. We've come into the space where our receivership needs to open up by being clear. How do you want the booty? Be clear. And if it serves me at that time, then let me be okay to do it. But don't try manipulate it, make it seem like there's an opportunity, but you wanting my light. Do you know what I mean? So if we can start being honest, more and more honest, we would be safer people. I knew this conversation was coming at some point, but it was just like, oh man. But speaking to a friend today really just helped me just go, if I keep like hiding this, or if I don't speak about it, then there's also that opportunity where I don't fully allow myself to heal around it, right? So we look at molestation. I guess you're going to call it like rape, and how the two are also linked to love and affection, and then mutual exchange versus forceful exchange. Because the forceful exchange is the narcissist and the empath. And the empath will seek the empath will seek the narcissist outside of the home because it is wounded. So we are using these conversations, and I mean, I've always known that my life story is going to help. Is going to help. So we feed into that outside of the homes, and it goes back and forth, but it's exchange, it's love, it's money, it's time, it's honesty. It's not wasting each other's time. It's saying, because if you know that you want a Porsche, but you're at Volkswagen asking for a Porsche. Interesting. Now this is going to link into stuff. So I've had clients where I pick up that they have been molested. And it was only later until I found out that, oh, it was because I was too. And I was molested by my brother. And it took me so many years to recover certain aspects of that memory. And I didn't want to say anything because now you got to protect, because it's family. And then there's so many levels of this loyalty game in the family that strips away your sense of safety. And I think when I explained it to when I told somebody and then I told a friend about it, the reactions were very interesting. And more often than not, the reaction is just sorry. And I started digging a little bit like deeper into what is the response that I'm actually looking for. And there is no response. I just got to share my aspect of how I've healed through this journey. And it ties into the family. The straw that broke the camel's back for me was me having two separate conversations with my parents and telling them that my brother molested me. And both of them, first, my mom said, "Why didn't you say anything?" But she knew about it. And then in my in my shock, the conversation just went into something else so quickly. And then I asked my dad, and he goes, "Why didn't you say anything?" And then in my shock, it was like a script that was written, like they knew that this is what they had to like just say. And then he goes, "Where did it happen?" Guys. Anyways, then this links into how we keep this in the home because of this loyalty test that we have. We're trying to protect something. There's something we're trying to protect in the home that is keeping us unsafe. There's something we're trying to protect. And then it linked me to the story where there was someone who wanted to do a collaboration with me. And the way in which the line of questioning came through, I started feeling very uncomfortable because from like work, from like a possible work collaboration to now, it felt a little too personal for me personally. I realized he had come to help me open up this space of when men call you sisi, and basically that means sister. Then these very men, and I'm not saying that person, but I'm just saying these very men who will call you sister are firstly attracted to you, and then they also grape you. So do you see it's so twisted, this thing. And there's more to this, but I'm just, just going to flow with it. So I notice my discomfort with men who call me sister. If I'm your sister, then you're my brother. Then it should be clear cut. But it's not, because give me that booty. You want the booty. Do you see how twisted this thing is? So if we don't start speaking more about these things, we start creating safe spaces with unsafe people, and create a domino effect of deeper unsafety that we don't speak about in these sort of conversations. Then what I started picking up too is when someone is molested, it creates it creates deeper levels of promiscuity. So there's a link there. You become overly sexualized, you over sexualize yourself, and you start weaponizing your body more. And after that conversation with my parents, And after the continuous disrespect I received from my brother, even after he had apologized a few years ago, he continued to disrespect me. And then I realized, in my form of wanting to protect family, because this is family, you love them, you got to protect family, right? Family is everything. No matter how much abuse you get in the home, family is everything. Yet what's so interesting is that if you had a partner and they were abusive to you, they will tell you to get out. And that cutoff for me was that they were willing to keep the person who added to my trauma and not me who wanted to break the trauma. This is the generational curses. And then it got me thinking at some stage, did something ever happen to him too? That he needed to try and test that on me? Because this is what happens as well. It's like men are molested from other men, either their older brothers or cousins or uncles or fathers. Then they do that to the weakest link, the woman and the kids. Whether they are, wombed or not wombed. And it becomes this promiscuity that gets taught through using it through force, through imagery, because men will abuse their physical strength. Then it comes into the system where women have to become overly, quote unquote, strong because they can't tap into their softness. So it's this interesting system that we find ourselves with regards to what is happening in the homes. I've since had to cut off my relationships because I had to take the stance of, if I am healing this and I'm helping other people also heal this, but I'm swimming in the toxicity of this, I am only becoming a person who is not safe, and it ripples into other aspects of life. So I've said so much here, and I guess I was waiting to this point of saying, it's happening in our homes. And it extends into the government, it extends into the workspace, it extends to the friends, it extends to our partners that we choose. It goes into our love and affection that we didn't get from our guardians or our parents. It goes into this, you become so desperate of love that depending on what you saw in the home, depending on whether your emotions were allowed to be spoken, depending on whether you were allowed to be heard, you would either forcefully take it, or you will completely retreat. And I retreated for a lot of years because I had so much shame around not remembering. And then that conversation where my parents have known for years, in fact, not even just a few, for years. And for them not to say anything or do anything about it. This is how we keep these generational curses in the homes. And up until we start speaking about these things that affect us, and how mental health is from, on one end, your heart is knowing and your body is knowing this is not right. But because we've been conditioned that this is family, this is love, this is how you work, this is how you do things, this is how, it's just conditioned. So it's like, but there's you every now and again you'll have glitches in your system, And then eventually you pursue that glitch and you see the light from that, and then you move even deeper and you go into that healing. That's what these conversations are also helping about. So clearly, the fact that I can actually speak about it, that I'm healed, because it was so heavy. It was so heavy for me to speak about. Just feel this like lightness, this drop to go. I'll never stop loving my family, but I can't tolerate lies. I can't tolerate a space where no one is willing to protect me. Because the thing is, you see kids now, 18 younger, it's happening more and more because what happens is their parents didn't get the safety. So their parents couldn't understand what safety was, and they just projected all of that anger onto this young kid who's now seeking it from older men, people who have money, because at least they are going to give them attention. And this is what this whole thing is about. It's about where are you paying your attention? And if the attention is not on you, are you going to try force it? Or are you going to try get your own attention? Because most often than not, it's separation from God. Every issue is an identity issue of who are you? Who are you in connection to the aligned God within, or the God of the world, narrated God of the world, the man in the sky? Oh, what a breakthrough. It is happening. It is happening. So we just see basically how all these issues are starting in the homes. Right there in the homes, and everybody's keeping quiet and not doing anything. So what do you need to do? You need to speak up. You need to speak up, and you need to write your own story. And if you're not literally physically writing it, then you're creating art by painting, by dancing, by singing about it so that you can heal. That was a confirmation one. Well, I don't think that our ancestors didn't write things down or didn't express things. They were just hidden. They were hidden or taken away through the shame. So, if you want something from someone, just be honest and clear about it. Because this all roots down to that separation from God is narcissism. It's darkness. And you want the empath who is here to extend and expand light by alchemy. But if you continue to suppress an empath, they can become so sponged into becoming who they are not. So, if you were molested, it would attract an energy of grape as well, or like predatorship. And it brings me to this last part of this conversation. Where I'm currently staying, there's a caretaker who is really a really friendly man. and very helpful, right? But it's like the way in which these units are set up, it's like people just mind their own business too. And then at some point, I went down to the store and he wasn't working here. And he saw me at the store and he was like, hi. And he came and he hugged me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Shut, let's do this, let's hug. And then we spoke a little bit, have a good day, bye. Come back to the house like a day or two later. Then he comes and hugs me in the house. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Next thing, he wants my number. So I was like, okay, well, I do also have the lady caretaker here as well, her number. So, okay. Then somehow when we were back in our separate spaces, I see like video calls. So I'm like, I ignore those. And then it goes, this is my number. I was like, next morning, how are you, my dear? Just really trying to engage, but like short conversation, which I don't understand. So I kept keeping it short. Another day, 7 o'clock in the morning. Happy Heritage Day. And then I felt that energy of whether he knows he has it or not, because there's one thing where someone can be very kind and they don't know they have that energy, that darkness that they're carrying around them too. And then I felt some type of way, and then I was like, should I wait over for the weekend because that's when he's going to come back again? Should I wait, or do I nip it in the bud right now and just like speak my truth? And I said, apart from the emergencies from where we're staying, why did you need my number? And then he said, no, I just enjoy having conversations with you. If you feel uncomfortable, then um, we don't have to. And I was like, thank God he gets it. Yes, I do feel uncomfortable. I think we can only need to be dealing with emergencies because I don't know what conversations we've been having in these couple of days on the phone because it's just hi, have a nice day. I don't know what conversation is that. Was it interesting today? He didn't greet me, but he greeted the person, one of the people in the units. And this speaks to older men. Leave young women alone. Stop. Leave young women alone. This darkness that you carry needs to be healed. And like I said, you might not know that you need it, but this darkness of this, like almost like this predator ship energy that's hovering in your energetic field needs to be cleansed. We all need that cleansing from the thing that is hovering. It's almost like, that chicken licking advert. There was this chicken licking advert where the craving just kept growing and growing. And it's a craving. It keeps growing when you don't attend to it. But that craving you're seeking is connection to light. Because like I said, light will attract dark, and dark will be attracted to the light for healing. You know, that's why all these like child traffic rings are so high, because it's the innocence. When you strip away someone's innocence, they become more promiscuous than they need to. Let kids be kids, guys. Everyone needs to take that responsibility of allowing a child to just be a child. I'm going to speak the same messages in different ways. Different ways. Let kids be kids, so that when you are a parent, you can still be a child. And you don't have to strip away your child's childhood. So it's time for us to heal. It's time for us to heal the wounds. It's time for us to step together so that we can progress and bring more color into this world. because then the addictions, whatever drugs or whatever is being used outside, whatever form of addiction you have, it's because of this love and affection that you didn't receive from the people who were supposed to be your caretakers on this physical plane. But the love is here and the healing is in the body. But it's up to you to say, it ends with me. It ends with me to not be a safe person. It ends with me to clear all energetic cords. Because you must also understand that this also links through ancestry. Because your ancestors are also, they either still getting at each other through you, through your ancestral bloodline. And that adds in curses too if you're not aware of it. That's why it is important to bring the blessings by pouring love into yourself and not needing to control it from somebody else. Leave the kids to be, so that we can all, even in our adult jumpsuits, allow our childlike energy to come through. But stop taking away kids' innocence, because it leaves the world shattered. It leaves the world in consumption mode and not play mode. Like, when do we get to play? When do we get to be free as we walk on these streets? Why do we have to have campaigns? The campaigns need to start in the homes. You need to speak up in the homes. We need to stop allowing toxicity. Because, like I said, if a partner is abusing you, it's because there was some form of abuse in the home. But you would tell that person to stop, but you won't tell the parents, the sister, the cousins, uncles, whatever, to stop. And this just comes with love and enoughness. It ends with us. It ends with you. It ends with me. And if it means having your shame exposed, then let it be exposed. But you know that you're doing it for the child, your inner child, your innocence that was stripped away. Because that person who is causing abuse also has their innocence. And it's not to take away from any harm done to another human being. But it's to understand that if we continue to have unsafe homes, we won't have a safe world. We just won't. But it starts with us, by being honest with what we want with each other and not manipulating the energy without someone else being aware. That's very deceitful. It's different to alchemy. And I just allow, if someone rejects, like I said earlier, it's you being redirected to someone who has been waiting for you and your energy. Because I've also said in one post that there is nothing wrong with you. It's just we're not, because of our wounds, that narcissist to empath, wounded empath, you collect friends and you collect information, or you go into workspaces that are trying to help you heal the wound from the lack of love and affection that you received. So we're just freeing ourselves today from this, because it's all linked. It's all linked to love. And it's building a deeper relationship with the divine within you. It's because you can go to church and not have a relationship with God. It's so easy. There's so many people who are like that. They don't have a relationship with God. Because having a relationship with the divine is not only on a Sunday or Wednesday prayer session. Do you know what I mean? Having a relationship with the divine is how you greet people, how you see people on the street, how you treat one another, how you become the safe space. It's how you engage in truth. So I'm just praying that this message is really received with so much love and tenderness, and that if you are sitting with what I've spoken about today, and you know that you've been attracting things of this nature, we are here in these conversations to heal, and we are going to heal. And it's going to take you doing one thing about it, being honest. And it's not to say that when you take someone out of your life that you don't love them. I remember one saying, like, so in love with someone, and we just couldn't connect like in person. And he taught me that unconditional love is loving someone through their conditions and not yours. Because I remember looking at him when we had an argument. This is like years ago. And I said, I don't like who we are becoming together. Like, we dimming each other's light in the most deepest ways. And you don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. And in that post, which I was trying to say earlier, is there's nothing wrong with you. You just absorbing darkness and thinking that it is you. So we need to start surrounding ourselves with people in light, with people who are looking exactly for us. But we can't do it if we're not telling the truth. So, you know, in the courtroom they say, are you willing to say the truth and nothing but the truth? Yeah, I am. Are you going to? If you need some support in cleansing your energy field so you're not attracting that energy and you're becoming a lot more aware, then book yourself a consultation. Okay, so let's just take a deep breath actually to just end this. So if you've ever been stripped of your innocence, I'm here for you. I've dedicated my whole life to bring back innocence, reclaim it. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, really, to be able to. Oof, it was also quite heavy for me to just free myself from this, from the shame. There's so much shame that comes because I started thinking in so many ways that I did it, like I caused it to happen, you know. And you walk around with that shame and the guilt. It's been heavy. And now, more light. Till then.